guys, welcome back to another video. This video is going to be a nursing video talking about nursing and money, and I wanted to share this with you guys because I've been wanting to do this video for a while, especially if you are a new grad that haven't gotten a job, or you're thinking about going into nursing, or you just want to know a little bit more information about what nurses make. You guys are going to see me look at my notes, which is going to be on my computer over here, but also make sure you watch to the end, because in the end I'm going to tell you the biggest paycheck that I brought home, like net pay, not gross. One of the biggest paychecks. All right, so let's jump right into this video. All right, so I am going to be looking over here in my notes because I want to make sure, for whatever reason that you clicked on this video, I want to make sure you get the points that I want to talk about. Let's get started. So make sure you watch to the end because I'm going to let you guys know one of the biggest paychecks that I brought home as a nurse. That was net pay, not gross. So let's talk about nursing and money in today's pandemic. So during this pandemic, nurses have been in demand and the pay rates have been insane because the number of patients that are filling the hospitals require a lot of nurses, and especially in COVID units, and also to staff the other units because there's, people still coming into the hospital with other issues besides COVID. So yeah, there's been a great demand. And then also nurses are seeing that, if I can work here, at this hospital permanently and make, I don't know, $30 an hour, or I can travel and be a travel nurse and make 50, 60 or whatever the rate is. And I've seen rates that are like $125 an hour, $150 an hour, and that's not typical, especially, before COVID. That was, you would get higher rates, but not like $150 an hour. So seeing that, people are getting double the rates if, just to travel, so people are like, well, instead of putting up with, unit politics and blah, 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 I'm just going to go travel and make more money and don't have to deal with it, because guess what? I'm only here for 13 weeks or whatever their contract is. If you watch my video about my NICU offer, which I will link above, then you'll know that during my job search, I also had the opportunity to take advantage of a $10K sign-on bonus and a $30K sign-on bonus. That was not the job that I ended up accepting. The jobs that offered me that, I did not end up accepting those positions. And that's because they needed nurses. Especially, one hospital said their travel nurses were leaving. So they were trying to get in their permanent staff, to replace the travel ones. Because, once they leave, the travel nurses, they're going to be short staffed again. And the problem just kind of it's like a cycle. The high pay rates, sign-on bonuses, all of that is to entice nurses back to the bedside. But, a lot of nurses, not only are they leaving bedside care because COVID or they're just burnt out from working or, dealing with COVID, they're going in other areas of nursing too. They're going into informatics. They're going on to be a nurse practitioner. There's a huge movement of nurses going to school to be nurse practitioners. So can we talk about at the beginning of the pandemic when nurses were offered $30K to go to New York and work I think it was 4 or 5 12s in a row for 3 weeks, and you would get paid $30K. That was definitely enticing. And I know nurses that, took advantage of that. A lot of nurses did, because not only were you going to the front line of the, epicenter of the pandemic, but you were also getting compensated pretty well. And, some people were able to, take that money and take care of their families, or, pay off their student loans, or, whatever. So it's, that was very enticing. Even I thought about going, but I ended up not going, and I ended up, staying here, manning the home front, if you will. Travel nurses are making so much right now, thousands. And when I say thousands, I don't mean $1,000, $2,000 a week or $3,000 a week. I'm talking anywhere between $5,000 and $10,000 a week to, go to a lot of these hospitals that are needing staff. So a lot of nurses are choosing to travel versus being permanent staff members for the reasons that I stated before. So it's lucrative right now to take advantage of these sign-on bonuses, or to be a travel nurse, especially if you have bills that you need to pay off, or you're saving for a house, student loans, whatever your, whatever your needs are, or your bills are. Like right now, nursing is pretty lucrative, but it comes with a cost. Like, what is the cost of cashing in on this money? Like, what will it do to your mental and your physical health? Like, you have to think about it. Is it worth it? Like, for a short time, sure, yeah, but would, 5 12s in 3 weeks, like, that's a lot. Like, even me, like, I'm like, no, I barely can do 3 in a row. So to do 5 12s or 4 12s in a row, like, that's too much. And then you also think of your family. I think of my family, and going to New York at the time was just not something that I could do. I couldn't, take that time away to make that money. It would be nice, but I couldn't. So, but in light of all of that, I love what I do, and I don't want to be burned out. I don't want to get burned out early in my career, because nursing is what I decided to do until I retire. And I have a lot of years left to work. So I don't want to burn myself out to the point where I decide to leave the profession altogether just because I'm just so exhausted, or or I keep pushing on and it begins to affect my personal life, and eventually it will bleed over into my work life, and then, mentally and everything. Like, it's not, in that sense, it's not worth it. If you do take advantage of any sign-on bonuses or, incentives to travel or whatever, just keep in mind to take time for yourself. So make sure that you are taking those off days that you do have to rejuvenate, and do anything that's not nursing related. So nursing pay before the pandemic, you can make a decent living in nursing. Like, definitely be smart with your money. You'll hear us complain that, the money is not enough, and sometimes it doesn't feel like enough for what all that, we do. But is it ever? Like, in some parts of the US, like, it isn't enough. Like, honestly, like, there are some parts of the US where the pay rate is a lot lower, but that's because the cost of living is lower. But still, it's like, wow, it's a shock. So, but as a new grad, so here's the part of the video where you guys are like, okay, get to the money part. So here is the money part. So the money part is, as a new grad, my first job after getting my license, I made $19.50 an hour, and I think it was like $20.50 on the weekend. So, and at the time, I want to say I was only weekends, so I was making roughly, probably bringing home roughly about like maybe 1,200, somewhere around there. Not a lot, and I don't, because I was only like the weekends. So, and then at the time, I thought going from $9 and something an hour to $19 an hour. Like, I thought that was, something, like, it was a lot. But really, other new grads that were starting out in the hospitals, because that was a long-term care facility pay rate, but in the hospitals they were starting out at $23.50. That wasn't including your weekend and shift differentials. So they were making a lot more money than me, but it was still, regardless, it was still an increase from what I was getting. So in nursing, typically you get paid your shift differentials, and it really varies. Like, sometimes it's like, depending on where you work, it could be like $1 more, $1.50 more, 20% of your base rate added on or something like that. It varies, but you will get it. And sometimes some places like will give you a shift differential from working like 3 to 7. You'll get a shift differential for that. And then some places on day shift, you don't get any type of shift differential. You just get your weekend, and that's it. So, and then night shift always gets a differential because, hey, it's nights. Nobody wants to work nights, but it's, except for me. No, I'm just kidding. There's other people that like nights, but so your differentials will vary from facility to facility. So some places pay you extra for being in a specialty area or being certified in your area of nursing. So another way you can make money in nursing, besides your regular base 72-hour pay period, when the staffing need is high, facilities will pay extra. They'll offer you the shift first, say, hey, can you come in and, work for me, blah, 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 this shift, that shift. And they won't offer you any incentive. They'll just say, hey, we need help. But then as the need for help rises and they still need help, even though maybe 1 or 2 people maybe picked up or maybe nobody did, then they'll start to offer incentives. Like you get so much more on the hour if you pick up, you know, any part of the shift or whatever. And that's where it can be like lucrative when you actually like, you know, pick up and you get that extra whatever it is on the hour in addition to any weekend or shift differentials. So it adds up. It can be very, very, very lucrative. But like I said, it also comes with a cost because that's a lot because you got to keep up with your schedule on top of, you know, whatever you picked up. So, and PRN pay can also be lucrative too. So PRN is as needed. So typically with PRN, you pick up what you can and you help out when there's a need in the facility. So the only downside to being PRN is that like your hours aren't guaranteed, and typically you're the first person that they cut if there's a need to, you know, if we're overstaffed or something. But you do get paid a higher pay rate than, you know, your full-time staff or your part-time staff because you don't take on benefits. So, and I don't think you get that extra $8 or whatever it is on the hour if you do pick up, because that's like your job, like to be there. You already get a trumped up, you know, pay rate. So, but you do get your differentials and all that stuff. Here's the big moment that you guys all been waiting for. Is current pay, which is slash most I've made, brought home. So the biggest check that I brought home net was, did you subscribe? Did you subscribe to my channel? Okay, so it was $3,000 and I was working PRN and picking up full-time hours. And that was like one of the biggest paychecks I brought home. So yeah, I was picking up regular hours, you know, and I just needed that flexibility because of childcare. So that was a nice check. I actually, not long after, I ended up going back full time. So anyway, currently I believe new grads can start anywhere from $23 and up. It depends heavily on where you live. Like New York and California, you're not going to start at $23. You're probably going to be like somewhere maybe like 50-ish range, 50-60 range, but that's because of the cost of living. So, and I'm not sure about New York, but I know California, those rates are pretty high. And it depends also where you work, because like I said, nurses back when I was starting, they were you know, the ones that start off at the hospital made $23.50 base rate, and then if you start, like I started out in, you know, the nursing home and I made $19.50. So that's like a $4 difference. It's a big deal. So yeah, so you definitely want to make sure, you know, you're getting paid what you deserve, because you're still going to go through the same thing. And in nursing, it's really about the experience. The more experience you have, the more money you'll make. And also being in a good facility, because if I had stayed in, you know, long-term care or, you know, nursing home, I would still probably be in that $20 range. It wasn't until I got into the hospital that I went from 23 something, and I just, you know, every year, you know, they did a market increase and to make sure we were getting, you know, paid fairly compared to the other hospitals and nursing staff. So my pay rate actually jumped up quite a bit, you know, each year. So it was nice, you know. But like I said, definitely be smart with your money. Like, don't create more bills for yourself as your pay increases. So it's one advice that I wish I would have taken, but yeah, I'm still working on that. So yeah, so at the end of the day, so I'm gonna wrap this video up. All money is not good money. So like I said, you know, picking up extra comes with a cost. Make sure that, you know, you take time for yourself and make sure you count those costs as well. And don't forget, you have to pay Uncle Sam. So the more you make, the more they take. So that's something to consider as well. And take time for yourself. Use your off days to rejuvenate and do something for you. If you guys watch shorts, I posted a video of me doing self-care, or, you know, getting self-care. I got my hair done, I got my eyebrows done, I got my feet done because I can't have my nails painted or anything because I work in the NICU, so I have to have short nails, no nail polish. Short nails, no nail polish. So So yes, I didn't get my hands on it. Remember your why. That is like huge. Like I'm telling you, like your reason why you got into nursing will definitely fuel you, motivate you to get through your tough days, to get through your week, you know, when you're dragging. You just have to remember why you got into it in the first place. You know, people join the profession for many different reasons, but at the end of the day, we all just want to make a decent living and enjoy what we do. So remember your why. So is nursing worth it? It depends, again, on your why. However, you can make good money in nursing, whether that is at the bedside or not. So if bedside is not for you, find a different way to give back to the profession. You know, they need educators. They need clinical preceptors, need nurses in IT. You know, we need nurses advancing and going on to be like nurse practitioners. There's a lot of things that you can do in nursing, and those are just a few of the things. But you know, explore those routes. You know, you're not stuck at the bedside, if you will. I don't feel like I'm stuck at the bedside. I mean, how can you feel stuck at the NICU bedside? I don't know how, but so anyways, so yeah, so if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I will be posting more videos. And yeah, thank you for all my new subscribers for hitting that subscribe button. Thanks for staying subscribed, and I will talk to you guys later.